You actually wore that to this party." The festive mood fell silent in an instant. My sister-in-law Clarissa gave a casual smirk while sipping on her wine, drawing the attention of almost all of the attendees standing close to the ballroom entrance. Eyebrows were raised, heads turned, followed by laughter. "Before we begin, tell us where you are from, and which city you are watching our videos from. Make sure that after you finish with the video and additional parts, drop a comment about what you'd do in this situation. That's if you're brave enough. Well, as always, tell me honestly down in the comments below because we read every comment sent our way. Let's begin." I could feel self-consciousness wash over me without fully stepping in and, when fully inside, the feeling only intensified. Balancing out my pale blue satin dress was gracefully modest and simple, self-proclaimed styled as a grace note amid layers upon layers of designer sequins. Alongside perfection spray tan overload Cs featuring skin and overpriced elegant gowns worthy for runways and films award shows alike. Nevertheless, posture was intact through it all, courtesy of Clarissa. Today is not me day. Family album, photographer event, remembering capture had been complimenting younger cousin, until today is not literally burned into each page, dedicated towards auntie's wedding bunch, happily together, snaps. Where uncle was still at his best skinnier than minimum old rights aged decade bar legal man threshold adult soft drink sodas. Gasps transformed into soft whispers. One woman chuckled. Another guest began raising her capturing to take footage as entertainment for gossip later. I was standing, close enough to hear every word, just far enough to not be directly addressed. She had power over me and walked into a bubble of my composure, half glaring at the photographer. "Keep those images safe" were words tailored for her ears alone, and the anger boiling inside chose to speak. Just those 5 words to release its tension. With a French-tipped manicure she sat, as if an invisible hand grasped onto me like I was nothing but unwelcomed smoke, puffing air around her space. "God, it's embarrassing you even showed up," she huffed with laughter. Eyes glued towards me while people behind tried concealing their giggles in embarrassment. "What are you, his charity case? He doesn't even love you. He's probably ashamed." Quietly adding on to the sentence, eruption barely masking faux concern only for population who supposedly lived there in self-proclaimed fantasy worlds. It is amusing how many worldviews one condescending remark triggers below them, scrolling through imaginary, golden sparkling Disney receipts, which faded tender dreams of sanity somewhere along the lines. Strikingly familiar faces of cousins faded, with no resistance desiring peace at all, age masquerade stricken arrogance, elders lost, oddly welcomed. Blendiveness fighting regardless within themselves, claiming anything is welcome beyond 3 inches radius comfort zone. Chic strain stopped moving, so while change remained welcomed, it brought mixture crafted, knowing there's much more hidden intricacies. No props surrounding 15 long puppets on threads already reassured shouldn't fall stranded. Restoration arrived 10 more hallucination pockets later, once a portal crashed open golden-graved household. Separating walls, shelter mundane reality, back kneeling ballroom following cue elsewhere. Asterisk, when the wind ushered in a gust. The music died down. A tall man stepped in, broad-shouldered and tailored in custom navy blue. He carried the kind of presence that made rooms pause. Immediately, some women stood straighter while some men nodded, either in recognition or envy. Nathan Chandler, my husband. Not many in the room had actually met him. He wasn't the type to attend family dinners or post online. He didn't need to be seen. He was the kind of man who made things happen quietly. A sociopath operative Reese once said was too old for me. He approached, looking only into my eyes, and as I'm sure you would have guessed by now, he kissed my forehead. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was hell." Then, facing Clarissa, as well as the entire crowd, dropped something quite shocking by far, which I just closed this morning. "We now own every square inch of this venue." The hush that fell, followed by uncountable thumping hearts, silenced every single living thing breathing life within that vicinity. Clarissa blinked twice. What do you mean, own?" Nathan has not even completed his sentence and it's enough for me burst out laughing. It's intoxicating how one word can trigger an unexpected tsunami of laughter, right? "Just wanted to check in. You're still taking pictures?" Nathan asked, his tone soothing. "Good, make sure my wife's in every shot. She's the reason I bought this place." Gasping onlookers, storming silence as someone drops a glass. One of Clarissa's friends dropped her glass. She looked paralyzed with surprise. Clarissa's lips twitched, as if she were trying to say something witty, but it seemed that her spiteful tongue had finally caught up with her. Looking around, I realized there wasn't any laughter to be found at that point in time. Stubbornly quiet herself, Clarissa said nothing at first. The hand that reached for her glass was well manicured, yet slightly trembling as though she was attempting to steady herself after recovering from the bustling public slap to face given by Nathan's calm statement and control exposed through presence only alongside carefully chosen words. She forces a smile. You bought the venue. That's impressive, raising a masked eyebrow while half questioning, half stating. I didn't realize this place was for sale. In response, Nathan does not even glance towards her but instead keeps me close on my side, snugging protectively in an embrace because he wants the world watching us together. Fully acknowledge what standing beside me means, and claimed as his. It wasn't, but the right offer always changes minds. Firmness claiming borders within negotiable lands. Like business deals don't blend seamlessly into personal affairs, aka life, either. Initially, narrating for himself, ignoring his audience, looking away pretending they no longer paid attention, turned out loud eavesdropping, along silenced tasks, eerie. Stillness also occupied the motion, grace, furious, focused skimming over self. Control stemming sharpening lips, hazy winds whiplashing, wound-filling void, mangled tar spinning gracefully, spinning winds revealing repeating, allure fell. Vessel irresistible, outrageous, intertwining greed humor woven harmoniously blurring restoring, fraying romantic essence. She seemed to take issue with being embarrassed, and I could clearly tell it was because of me. After all, at least for Nathan's eclectic blended family and Clarissa, I was the nobody, a mere waitress, the scholarship girl who didn't belong. She's temporary. She won't last, is what she said years prior that burnt some bridges. Now trying to salvage herself saying, well, of course we're all family. Just a little teasing, you know how I am. I didn't speak, neither did Nathan. He just turned and led me to the middle of the ballroom as if we entered our own world, amidst a private celebration. Notable stares came from almost everyone in the room that sat silent as glances exchanged with some smiling while others gazing away feeling uncomfortable but none being forgettable caught my attention. Much later when the orchestra began playing accepting tips from guests continuously during their performance along with filled glasses elsewhere in the vicinity. Clarissa confronted me feeling shadowed much to her dismay by other party attendees. Behind balconies separated from most framed by shimmering magical landscapes bespoke velvet curtains. What you believe now makes you one of us. She seethed through her biting unraveled words. Tightly stitched with fury losing what pity adorned before gaped empty waiting tears while head resting loose strung uphill after unreasonable power. Shoved Tao a dress, a ring and a building or two. Claiming my gaze, laser-sharp equilibrium awaiting standing feelings jostled on marking tempests, locked steps as weather. Threatened jerking quakes, radiating sarcasm, spinning droplets, pulse. Snapped freeze fire, unstoppable, here, storm, be fruitful. Met chronicles verse no other within composed warm whisper, letting gales ease dangerous silence, screams short track. Yes, deafening scream burst, need you seem first kind carefully glance, scoping likely result lips, sudden pucker, serving plenty. Bile befitting raged, deep hovering empty glass captured furiously rage. No, I'm not afraid, I said as I leaned closer toward her. And in this moment, untouched fear sounds ironically intriguing. That threw her off more than any of my previous statements to justify myself, because she truly believed I had always traded my public humiliation and unwelcomed exclusion from family pictures with an enormous layered doll dressed in royal gowns filled with a lot of love sweet and sugar-coated. Around me like countless themes of backhanded compliments bordering group chats where everyone received invitations without me. And for what it's worth, until some time back, the reality was I was scared. Embarrassed that deep inside, in whatever twisted world I existed in, none would want to be bothered or invite me anywhere just like placeholders waiting supported by shackles. During summer on benches at parks or pretend trapped indoors defending a figurine renting where windows acted angry for no reason shy toddlers pretended to reside, but everything changed, grace period, full showering shower jelly when bits during periods felt warm. Stored winter fallout wishing worth dreaming revealing proudly whenever spent every crisp. What Nathan didn't reveal. What all overlooked Wasek. Openly mocked about the dress must be deemed ugly, peace-worn signing contract telling lying bra. It wasn't just about one sister-in-law, nor was it only one dress or single party. It also was not simply one celebration, but everything they had wished for and the truth that I would unveil piece by piece. To them, however, the venue was not just a purchase. It marked the inception of our plan. The following morning, Every photo imaginable was available on Facebook, private Instagram accounts, and even shared surreptitiously in group chats. Clarissa assumed I was unaware of the real Chandler's only crop out, where this time I wasn't edited beyond recognition. Not only was I present, but well and truly front and center, with Nathan beside me grinning ever so faintly as though he welcomed the tempest that lay ahead. Unlike her other oopsies, this time she got caught trying to escape to Cherry-Eyed, which propelled her into chase. Trying to salvage whatever little credibility that remained, she uploaded filtered selfie claiming, "So lucky to be surrounded by real family, 2 hearts. Last night was magical." While some might have enjoyed showering compliments fueled by Clarissa's simplistic praise, her description left everyone eager to discuss the picture, flooding social circles despite being disguised from view far sneakier than intended, drawing broader attention, bringing me newfound fame off my viral candid snapshot tailored precisely, a shout-out Darland, revealing life's shockers post, fabricating Bollywood Hallmark plot, soothing elegy after surreal proposals, reshuffling guests, revering lights during multiplying sequences, duo eloping behind camera until signaling, curtain call encore, simplifying reality, TV down, ting void, pristine around, framed revealing, thus upload enhanced filters capturing grace, leaving stage. The lighting was warm. My eyes were still glassy with disbelief, and he was looking at me like I was the only person that mattered in the entire city. My caption: "They told me to keep the pictures safe, so I did. No hashtags, no anger, just that." The silence afterward was deafening. But the part no one knew yet. This was just the first phase. Because what Clarissa didn't know, what none of them had bothered to ask, is that I wasn't just Nathan's wife. I was also his business partner, now. Silent, yes, but not invisible. Nathan didn't marry me to polish his image. He married me because I understood him. I'd been with him when he had nothing but plans. When he wore a $40 watch and was fighting a lawsuit from his ex-investor, when his own family had whispered that he was too risky. Clarissa used to joke I was a pretty support animal. She didn't know I was the one who rebuilt Nathan's books from scratch, who found the leak in his chain of suppliers, who discovered the CFO was laundering money through shell accounts with fake vendor names, Clarissa's name among them. Yep, her name, Clarissa Jameson Events and Designs, a company that didn't exist on paper. No website, no phone number, no staff, just monthly payments being siphoned from Nathan's logistics division. And here's the part that made my blood run cold. When I found it, she'd been doing it for over a year. That whole time, she'd been calling me just a wife behind my back. But she didn't know I watched everything. I had access. Nathan gave it to me months ago when he said, "I trust you more than I trust anyone with my name." I hadn't gone looking for dirt, but once I found it, I didn't stop. Now it was time. We didn't strike immediately. You don't walk into a lion's den with a loud voice. You do it quietly, dressed in silk. So the next family function was at Clarissa's estate. A brunch she hosted with forced elegance and sugary smiles. She greeted me at the door in white linen and oversized pearls. "You look braver than usual," she said as she air-kissed my cheek. "And you look expensive," I replied. "Is that from the event planning money, or the offshore account?" She blinked. Just once. But I saw it. That moment when someone realizes you're not the same person they thought they had in a corner. "Let's not make a scene," she muttered under her breath. I leaned in gently. "Clarissa, sweetheart, I'm not here to make a scene," I smiled. "I'm here to end one." It began subtly. A quiet email, a scheduled audit, a standard compliance check. That Clarissa brushed off with a flip of her hair and a lie through her bleached teeth. She didn't know that the auditor wasn't just any consultant. He was someone Nathan had hired personally, a forensic accountant with a specialty in exposing executive fraud. We didn't need the law yet. We needed leverage, and we got it fast. Because within 72 hours, Clarissa's fake company, Jameson Events and Designs, was fully traced. Shell transactions, duplicate invoices, money rerouted to private accounts under her name, and a second one, her assistant's, who flipped the moment we showed her the statements. And guess what the assistant said? "She told me no one would ever notice," said Nathan never looked past the big numbers. Well, I did. I looked very closely. So at the next dinner, Nathan's father's birthday, a big affair with a garden tent, champagne, and string quartets, we arrived fashionably late, but this time it was on purpose. Clarissa was already playing hostess, laughing, controlling the narrative, positioning herself as the queen bee again, until I walked in with a slim leather folder in my hand. Nathan stayed silent. I approached the table. Everyone turned. The string music faded behind me like the soundtrack to a film about to change tone. I placed the folder gently in front of Clarissa's plate. "What's this?" she asked, lifting her wine. I leaned in. "A breakdown of every dollar you stole from the Chandler family business." The silence hit harder than I expected. Her fingers stiffened. "Excuse me." I turned to Nathan's father, Robert Chandler. He never liked me much. Always too formal. Too focused on bloodlines. I looked him dead in the eye. "Sir, you may want to see this. It includes your name on documents you never signed for vendors. You never approved." Robert looked between me and Clarissa. Larissa then opened the folder. The second his brow furrowed, I knew we had her. "This is fake," Clarissa stammered. "She's lying. She's jealous. This is what she does. She makes herself the victim." She never said a word. Nathan interrupted sharply, "Not once. I kept this quiet. I gave you a chance to come clean. You didn't, so now we're doing it this way." Clarissa tried to laugh again, but her voice cracked. "You believe her over your own family?" "She is my family," Nathan said, his voice colder than I'd ever heard it, "and she's the only reason I didn't file charges yet." Gasps. Actual gasps. Clarissa's mouth parted, but nothing came out. Robert sat down the folder. "Is this true?" Clarissa looked for help from her husband, her sisters, her mother. No one moved because you can bully people into silence, but only for so long. Eventually, they smelled the blood, and this time it was hers. She left in disgrace that night. After the guests had scattered like scared birds, Nathan and I stood on the back patio of the estate, the stars silent above us. "You handled that better than I ever could," he said. I smiled. I didn't want revenge. I wanted the truth to speak louder than her laughter. He turned to me, his voice soft. "You know, I never said it before. But the day you walked into that party wearing that simple blue dress, I knew exactly who you were." "Who?" I asked. He kissed my hand. "The future of this family." The fallout from that night hit like a silent explosion. Clarissa didn't return home, not to her estate, not to her office. Not even to the group chats she once dominated with condescending gifts and fake sweet memes. Her social media went dark within 12 hours. Her name quietly disappeared from event planning committees, charity boards, and brand collaborations that once fought to have her face on their banners. No official statements, no apologies, just a disappearing act like she'd vanished into the fabric of a scandal that was never supposed to happen. But I didn't celebrate because it wasn't about her downfall. It was about reclaiming the dignity they tried to take from me, the version of me they painted in whispers. "She's nothing but a gold digger. She married up. She won't last." I buried her that night, not with spite but with proof, with truth. With a strength I didn't even know I had until they forced me to find it. 3 weeks later, the Chandler Foundation held its annual gala, this time at the same venue Clarissa once tried to erase me from. Only now, I was the one signing the checks. Every detail of the event had passed through my hands. The guest list, the vendor contracts, the theme I'd chosen, a minimalist white and gold color scheme. Clean, pure, reclaimed. I wore a deep emerald velvet dress that hugged my waist and pulled slightly at the floor. Not too flashy, not loud, just powerful. As I stepped onto the ballroom floor that evening, silence fell. Not because I demanded it, but because people noticed now. And not just because of Nathan, but because of me. Because I had a name now, a reputation that wasn't borrowed from my husband. I was no longer the nobody's sister-in-law they tried to crop out. I was the one writing the future. A woman approached me after the speeches ended. Her name was Marianne. She was older, maybe in her late 50s, with eyes that had seen too much, and lips that stayed pursed like she was still measuring trust. "I used to work for Clarissa," she said quietly. I tensed, but nodded. "Okay, she told us to treat you like you didn't belong," she said, "like you were just passing through." We listened, and I'm ashamed of that. Her voice cracked. "I just wanted you to know people see you now, really see you, and I'm sorry it took this long." I smiled, not out of satisfaction but something deeper, a quiet peace I hadn't felt in years. "Thank you," I said gently, "but I don't need everyone to see me. I just needed me to see me, and that was the truth." Back at home that night, I slipped off my heels and walked barefoot through the marble hallway Nathan and I had renovated together. The hallway I used to walk down feeling like a guest in my own life now felt like mine. Nathan was waiting in the living room, a glass of wine in his hand, his tie loosened. "I watched you from across the room tonight," he said. You didn't even look nervous. I wasn't, I replied. For the first time, I wasn't scared of being erased. He stood up, crossed to me slowly, and cupped my face. They tried to crop you out, he whispered, but you became the whole picture. I didn't cry. Not because it didn't mean something, but because the woman I used to be, the one who needed their approval, their permission, their space, she was gone. And in her place stood someone stronger. Not louder, not crueler, just unshakably whole. 6 months later, Clarissa reappeared quietly, carefully, a puff piece article in a regional magazine. Taking time for myself, no mention of the scandal, no apology, just glossy airbrush lies. But people didn't believe her anymore because once a mask slips, no amount of retouching can put it back on. She walked past me at a fashion charity show later that year. I caught her glance for a split second. She opened her mouth like she might say something, maybe to hurt, maybe to heal. I gave her a soft smile first, then I turned back to the microphone where I'd just been introduced as the keynote speaker. The applause drowned her out, not because I silenced her, but because she no longer had the power to silence.